recording. All right, good morning. We're going to work on 2 black canvases. These are 9x12s. And I've just put a book up underneath them just to kind of stabilize them so that when I stencil, and I've got some ephemera that I've pulled out for them, I'm going to set aside. And I've pulled 3 or 4 different stencils out to use this morning. Some I've cut myself on the silhouette, and these are from Deco Arts. There's a script, a distressed harlequin, and a jacquard, like a floral. And then I have a couple of Andy Skinners over here that I might use too for some numbers or some words after the fact. And I'm using Deco Arts Tradition Opaque White, and then I'll use a little bit of the Carbon Black later. So I'm going to start with this one right here, and I'm just using a makeup sponge for the stencil. Let me check this and see. Making sure that all right, so I'm going to start. I don't see chat, so I'm not sure if I'm in a chat split or not. So I want to pop out the chat. It's all right. So this is kind of like a medallion stencil. And I'm keeping my stencil pretty dry, my sponge, so that I don't get a lot of leakage underneath. And the idea is just to get white on the black. And I will overlap a lot of the stencils. And the paper is going to go down. I don't like that half circle though, that I'm going to have to fix that. So I'll set that aside somewhere. Well, actually, I think what I'm going to do before I put that aside is I'm going to finish this little circle right here. And I'm not going to worry about the little stray white marks because I can clean those up later with the black paint. And I'm going to do the distressed harlequin next. What I've been trying to do is find two stencils that are about the same weight and then blend them with the floral in the script. And I try to go a little asymmetrical when I'm using the stencil. I think that's pretty good on that side. I'm going to do a different little pattern here. Hey Ella, let me know if it's echoing or anything. What I started was 2 black canvases, and I'm just stenciling with white, opaque white. And I've just put a couple stencils on there so far. I've done a medallion stencil that I cut on my silhouette. And then the one I just did was Deco Arts, a distressed harlequin. Morning, everyone. I'm not seeing, the only chat I'm seeing is Ella's. Hey, Lynn. So I don't know if there's a chat split, which has been happening a lot. This one's a floral jacquard that I'm going to use. But I think I'm going to actually, I'll do that one first. I have this one in a script. And I'm just going to let some of this peek out. I like the little dots in it and the floral aspect. So I'm just going to use portions of it popping out. But I'm just trying to like blend the mix of stencils together with the let me scoot this one apart a little bit. All right. And I'm letting them overlap just a little bit because some of this is going to get covered up. Oh, thank you, Lynn. Yeah, I upload all of the streams and I do other videos on YouTube under Debbie Epps also. I just kept everything under Debbie Epps. It just seems simpler than having several different screen names. Alright, and I'm going to wrap this one around to the side. There. And I think I'll come right here. Actually, I'm going to turn it. Just use this same side. That's good there. I'll drop a flower right down here. And I think I'm going to have a flower come out right here. And I'm going to make a flower come out right there. All right, so there's the floral aspect. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Lori. All right, so now what I'm going to do is use this Deco Arts, it's French script, and I'm going to put that kind of in between. And I'm not really worrying about where I'm at in the phrase. Like I said, I'm just trying to tie the different stencils together and fill in. I like that because that's some numbers there. Okay. And I think I'm gonna pop out a word right there. I am recording, so for anyone who didn't, it's a little earlier than I normally am on. I just like to, I don't have a set time. And this looks real busy right now, but that's because not much, Vicky. All I've done is stenciled with, on the black canvases, I used a medallion stencil first. Then I used Deco Arts Harlequin Distressed. And then I used a Floral Jacquard. I think this is a Deco Arts, but I'm not. I think it's under their Americana line. And then finally, I'm just adding some script to blend. And this is going to get covered up, some of it. So it's not all going to be out there. So I'm just trying to use some script to blend. Okay, I think that'll be good. And we can always come back in later and use more white or even be subtractive. All right, so I'm going to take the books out. I was using books to kind of keep the canvas from bouncing when I was stenciling. And I'm going to pull out the all right, and I'm going to pull. I took pictures of how I wanted to lay out the two canvases, which I usually do when I plan. Okay, now I've just got to find where I set the ephemera so it would be safe. Because we can't move on without that. I just had it. Okay, I'm beginning to think it's a curse. You hear? She probably doesn't like the fact that I shut the door. Okay, really, guys. How can that be gone? I just had it. I swear we need a rewind button. I'll stand up and see if I can see it. I literally just set it aside. Somewhere safe. Oh, there it is. Thought I was losing my mind there for a minute. And this is just an assortment of cream colored and I've chosen For each canvas that I'm going to do, I've chosen one image in like a bright color, so I kind of have an accent color. I think I'm going to scoot this down. That's kind of what I had planned for that one. And you can see how now you can see how some of the stenciling is covered. And that's that. It was a tighter canvas smaller canvas that I originally had out. I think I'll do that. This one I'm not sure about. Maybe like that. Okay. I think that works. And then we'll come back and adjust the stenciling. Just using some decoupage. This is the satin. I'm going to start with this little piece of book text. And I am going to let it hang over the side. A little bit too. Everybody's quiet this morning. Just using some light pressure to kind of hold this down. It's a old, like a library card. And it's a heavier, like index card weight. So the corners want to pop up. that corner down. Yeah, I figured some people were working along or watching and doing multitasking and doing other things, especially this early in the morning. I know Jean said she was going to be listening and doing some other, like cleaning or doing something that she had to do this morning before she got on later on for her stream at 1 Eastern, which is 12 Central Time for me. Still wanting to curl up on this one corner. Sure I get enough contact. I think I'm gonna play it down with the gift card a little bit. All right. I'll set that one aside so it can dry and we can come back and work some more stencil work on it. Oh, I forgot one piece. Okay, let that dry. Start on this one. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Too, Vicky. Just like, yeah, it's like you have somebody who's company when you're in your studio working in your art room. This is an old piece of pattern and the paper's really brittle from being so dry, which gives it that lovely patina, but makes it a little bit harder to work with initially. All right, I'll set those aside. Put this little piece of scrapbook paper. And I think I want to tear the edge of that just a little bit. And that's wrapped around the side. All right, put our little French poster on. put her down right about there. Just have her touch the side, but I like that torn away. This one didn't have as much red, so I thought a little pop here. With this little hotel sign. And then the last piece here. I find these black canvases have more grain. They're not as smooth as some of the white canvases. So you need a liberal dose of the gel medium to get good contact. Okay. I think that's good. All right, so I'm gonna switch that out again. Put that in water. Close this because I think we're done with that. All right, so now it's just a matter of looking at it and deciding if we need to add any white stenciling or we want to add any black or clean it up anywhere. I'm thinking just to put in a little bit more script here and there that we lost. You also can go over your images and give them some stenciling. I may put, and the other thing that I'm going to do is come in with some black and clean up. So for example, I don't like this little white right here. Kind of like some of these speckles, but I'm going to take out some of this right here. All right, and I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. And I think I'm going to stencil in Tempted to stencil right there. Need more white. Yeah, that's what. But they were working on other stuff, and it's just this time of the morning, I think. Yeah, I like that. Probably needs a little bit more white in here. Because I put that black paint. So it may even be a little gray, but I don't mind that because it'll help it show up here. Yeah, I can see on my sponge that it's gone a little gray. And I think that I'm going to put some of that up here too. And let it go over the picture maybe even. I don't like it on the picture, so. Wipe that back off. Yeah, I like that better. I'm just looking for a little balance here and there. And I'm really tempted to take this flower here and bring it up on the book text in black. And let me get another sponge for the black. Just clean up those little smudges there. And then maybe one of these little half flowers. A little more black paint. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe up here. Just to distort and cover up some of that text on the book card. I'll let that stem and one of those flowers go over. If I don't like it, I can always wipe it back. Yeah, I like that. So the last thing I want to do is I'm just going to double check and see if there's any places where I've laid down my stencil and I don't like that white. Clean up any stray marks. I don't mind some of these little sprays or little white dots sometimes. And what do I do with the, I need the one with the script. I need to put this F back in here. All right, I think that one's done. Other than I might want to carry part of this stencil. Actually, you know what I'll do instead of the stencil is just put some script on that side. I like to make it where if the person who buys it doesn't want to frame it, that there's something on the sides. So that way that has a little something. It's got the paper over there. All right, so let me trade those out for this one. Okay, I think I'll do a little flower here. I don't want to cover too much of that up. I'm just going to make a little flower come out of the black and onto. It's kind of a half flower. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And let it come up onto the advertisement over here. Bye, Ella. I'll post the final pictures on the Facebook group and a link to the YouTube upload later on Twitter probably. Thanks for coming. All right, I like that. I think it needs, it's got harlequin up here. I think it needs just a couple harlequin down here. And then I'm going to clean it off the ad. So that it goes up underneath. That way it looks like it comes all the way down. And it might need a little bit of that medallion. Right here. I'm just going to put one piece. And then maybe this one going off. All right, it needs those rings, doesn't it? Okay. And then what I'm going to do is come back in here, wipe off the ad. And then take some of this out. With the black. I think I'm going to take this out down here. Looks too crowded. And I'm going to take this leaf right here. Well, I think I'm going to take that leaf out and put in the script, if anything. Because there was script there. All right. I'm going to take this leaf out right in here. I just think some of it needs a little bit of a break. Take this one out right here. And I think I'm going to take this tip right here out. Like that's better. Still not sure I like those over there. So I'm just going to leave it like that. All right, now it's a question if I want to come back in with a little bit of script here and there. No, that did not work. I wasn't holding it very. Nope, the black paint just blends and you can't really see it, especially after you feather it out. And so when I put it on there, I just kind of tend to feather it out and it just blends. And especially after I put a coat of gel medium over everything. Right now, partially what you can see is places where I don't have gel medium is where you can tell the biggest difference on the canvas is, like, for example, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but here I have the gel medium, here's just raw canvas. So once it's dried, then I'll come in and give everything a coat of the gel medium. But I've not had any problems using either Americana Ebony Black, the lamp black, and the other one I use is the Carbon Black, which is also a Deco Arts. So I've not had any problems with the black blending. All right, I want to get just a little word right here. That's better. All right, I think, well, it just looks like a white blob. Try that again in a minute. Let it dry a little bit. And I think I'll take that out right there. And but I usually just kind of feather it out when I put it on. But let's try. This again on this side. It just wants to, I'm probably hitting it with too much paint. When it's too wet. Make sure the back of the stencil's clean. 2. And this, I'm not going to put any more paint on it. That's better. It was just too thick, too much of it, just like a spludge. Hi, Janet. All right. Let me set that one aside, just sort of a recap. What we did is I took 2 black canvases. I started out with a stencil I cut on my silhouette. That's a medallion. Then I used Deco Art's Distressed Harlequin, a Floral Jacquard. It's hard to see. And then tied the stencils together with script, and that was all done using an opaque white. You don't want to use a white that's going to be translucent on the black canvas. And after that was done, then I collaged my ephemera down, and I came back in, and I have been adding pops of white back over some black over, using the carbon black to correct any mistakes or remove any parts that I didn't like. So for example, I think this is a little heavy right here in this corner. So I can just take that out using the black paint. And all I do is feather that black paint out, and it's not noticeable. Here's another area that it's kind of confused, where one stencil laid over another stencil, maybe 2 or 3. And so I just go in and do that and decide what I like or where I need to add. And this one may need some more script in there. I'm kind of wondering if it doesn't need a little script up here or something right in here. Thank you, Lynn. All right, so there's that. And I think I'm going to add just a little pop right here. And then I'm going to wrap it on the side. Trying to hold that all together. Why? Just rock it to the side. And then I'm going to put part of another word right here. And then I'm going to wrap that one around the side. I think I hit that in the right spot. Yeah, I did. Okay. think those are pretty well balanced. And I didn't end up using the Andy Skinner stencils. There was plenty going on there with those 4. So now what I'll do is I will add a coat of the gel medium on top of everything. And then I'm going to use the triple thick. And usually when I sign them on the black canvases, I use a white paint pen. All right, set that one aside. And since they might hang as a pair, I don't want to sign over here again, so I'm going to sign over here. Get that flowing again. You can actually probably hear it scratch, because that's the raw canvas, how rough the canvas is. It doesn't have a smooth finish as the white ones do. It is fairly rough in its finish. Let me set that aside. And what we'll do is we'll just and I keep this kind of watered down, so it's just a real thin coat, because I'm going to put the varnish on it, but that way it's all even. And I just feel like it's not going to lift up or come up if I give it that once of a final all over coat. In any place I didn't coat it. The other thing I'll do once this is dry, before I put the triple thick on it, is I will take a pit pen in the cold gray, is usually what I use, and I will add some drop shadows around the ads and some of the ephemera, just to it finishes up the edges nicely. But I like to make sure that you got to have the gel medium, so you can't have like a raw canvas edge. So I got to make sure that everything's coated before I use the pip markers. But I'll show you, like, I know there's gel medium. Set that one aside. I know there's gel medium right in here, so I'll show you with the marker what I basically do. I usually drag it around the edge, and I even don't mind if some of it comes up on the top. It just gives it that shadow, and then I just use my finger or a baby wipe to kind of blend it. Like if I decide that it's too heavy on this side, I can pull back, come at it again if I want it thinner. And usually I'll decide and cast a shadow down on one side so that it really looks like it's sitting on top. It's not going to show up on this edge over here on the black, but it will finish the edge of the paper. It just kind of gives it that age and finishes those edges where I've cut it. If there's any white fibers showing, it helps cover them up. And you're going to see how it's going to make this one really look like it's sitting on top. But you got to make sure that your gel medium is 100% dry or you will ruin the pip markers. All right, so let's go ahead and put a coat of this on. And this one here I noticed like was rolling up. On the edge. And I even do the sides. Like here's another one where it's didn't lay down underneath. So this is a good time to catch that. So I even coat the sides because like I said, I usually create them with finished sides so you don't have to frame it if you don't choose to. Or at least you can hang it up when you first get it till you have time to frame it. All right. And like I said, I'll let those dry for a couple hours. Hi, Carrie. I'll let those dry for a couple hours and then I'll put a coat of the triple thick on there, which will give them, let me get the other two and I'll show you the kind of glaze you get from the triple thick. Move this so you're not seeing the print on top of the print. But here's that other pair, and you can see how shiny they are once they get the triple thick on them. It comes in a spray, which I like too, but you have to do outside. I get a better coat with the spray than I do with this, and it could just be that I'm not using enough of, but I had to come back in. The other thing I almost forgot, the other thing is I thought about doing a pop of red. So let's bring these back. I had some modeling paste out or some iridescent medium. The other day what I used was iridescent medium. And I had some red paint set aside. because I did a raised, like a raised flower in one spot, or a little fleur-de-lis kind of thing. This is what I did the other day, which might work on here again. Oh, hey, Jean. But I also have this. I think I want a flower. Maybe. Could just give it one of these popped up in the red. I think I'll actually go with this again, because I do kind of like the it's just sort of a simple thing. And I think I'll add a red one on each. I may add more than one red. So what I'm going to do, and I am going to use the iridescent medium again. I liked that the other day. Instead of the modeling paste, it just gives it a little shimmer and a sparkle. Hi, Eileen. So what I'm going to do is take Liquitex Basics. Get my little transparency back over here. And I'm just going to squirt out a little Liquitex iridescent medium. It's probably more than I need. And then I have two colors. I have berry red. Just to give it a little opacity. And this is Dazzling Metallics Fiesta Red, which has got more of that metallic property there. Mix that up. It'll look pink initially, but it won't dry pink because the iridescent paste will go clear, because you can put it on clear. It's very much like oh, Jean, did your mom have to go back to the emergency room? Okay. It's real thin, so I have to kind of be careful not to put it under the stencil. This is a stencil I cut apart that had several patterns on it. All right, and then what I'm going to do is clean up this right here and this right there. And I think make sure the back's not got it. I think I want to put it down here too. I think that gives me a pretty good layer everywhere. Pull that up. Clean up right here. And I think it needs a third little pop down here. So what I'm going to do is use this middle, just the middle part. You can maybe see on my stencil, I've used this with the iridescent medium before. And now my stencil is just glittery. Okay, I like that because then that's 3. All right, so I think that one's good. It's got one little spot here that needs to come out. And because I put that gel medium everywhere, it just wipes right off. All right, so let me set that one aside so I don't ruin it. Okay, now the question is, we'll do the same thing over here and repeat. Make sure the back's not dirty. I think I want to decide where I want this first on this one. I don't know what my husband is watching on YouTube or TV, but they're just yelling at each other. I don't think I got quite a bit of extra here, so I'm going to take a clean baby wipe this time, I think. I'm just going to kind of blend that out and wipe it off. And it'll just spread out some of that iridescence, but lose the pink tint. All right, so there's that. Let me wipe that off. And I'm going to just roll it up and stick it down in my paint jar where I have my rinse water. And I think I'm going to put one there. Nope, neither one. He's a teacher as well. He works as a sub at my school right now. We're hoping he'll get a full-time teaching position either this year coming up or the following year. But right now, he's just subbing, which he likes to do. I would hate it. Hey, Luscious. But he teaches either social studies or science. That's how we met. He was teaching it, came to teach at the school I was working at. And I ignored his. Well, we went on a date that I didn't call a date. He thought it was a date. I just thought we were going someplace together to meet a bunch of other people at work. So he will tell you that was our first date. And I will tell you it was much later, like around spring break. Oh, that one. And then I didn't actually wouldn't go out with him until I knew that he was not gonna like stay at my school, because I was afraid to really date someone a long time where I worked, because then if it didn't go well in the end. Well, he thought it was a date because of a friend of ours that also worked at the school district with us. Told him it was a date. Like, she set it up thinking it was a date. But I thought I was going there to meet someone else, actually, from the high school. So. All right, I like that. And so I'm going to let that dry. We have a lot of this extra paste here. So let me find a jelly print. I have one I know that's got pink and green. That's it. Let's add this on top of this jelly print so it doesn't waste. I'm going to get the stencil out that has the big fleur-de-lis. Little ones. There it is. This was the stencil I used when I made this jelly print. So I think what I'll do is match that up. Put this on here. It wants to roll up because it's usually, I must have used it mostly the other side. smudged a little. Let me wipe that off on the back before I set it back down. And that one's in green. I want to leave that one. I think I'll put a couple of these smaller ones. I'm kind of leaving the bottom free because that's probably where I'm going to embellish it and want to put something. I think I want to put beach houses on this one. All right, there's a little bit more. I'll put some over here. Right there, which I just laid down. And they're smashed a little bit over here because I hit my hand on them. But that'll work. All right, let's clean that up. Set that to dry. Because now I'm going to sparkle. Oh, thank you. It was a birthday gift for a friend that graduated from TCU. And she's an assistant principal. Oh, I know, Carrie. It is hard to get in, or you get in and then the chat splits. Even on my phone, I've sometimes had problems where I'll be watching it and then I'll back out to do something else, answer the phone or do something, and then I'll come back and I can see the streamer, but I can't see the chat. And today when I got on again, it wanted to do that, you know, forever and ever spinning. And it'll finally come up and it'll say that I have to restore the chat. Give me something about that. I'm going to stop the recording. I'm not going to go yet, but I'm going to stop the recording.